Hi, this is George Alger. Welcome to today's segment of Our Ventura TV. Today we're going to be speaking about holistic health and optimal aging. And joining us is Doctor of Chiropractic Emma Wagner. Welcome, Dr. Wagner. And for those who might know, can you start with a definition of holistic health?
Well, thank you, George, for having me on the show today. So holistic health is really the idea of looking at health the whole way. So we're going to look at physical health, emotional health, mental health, and we're going to incorporate the different level of health into helping people gaining their wellness and vitality back.
Okay, very good. Now, does this include, for instance, what most people might be familiar with in terms of medical health as well as nutrition and other types of practices?
So more and more practices in medicine and alternative medicine are interesting in a holistic health. Not every practitioner. I have a medical doctor that is holistic minded in town that we love working with. But the idea of holistic minded is really to look at not just the physical health and not look at the symptoms. And so if somebody has just a shoulder pain, we're going to look at the shoulder, of course, but we're going to look at the emotional aspect, the mental aspect, and looking at what we can do to improve emotional well-being, mental well-being, mindset to help that person get their shoulder better.
Very good. And I understand that prevention is a part of this holistic health.
So in a holistic health, we're more looking at prevention and how to do something better than waiting to get sick and dysfunctional to start taking care of ourselves. So holistic health is a lot of preventative medicine and looking at what we can do to better ourselves and optimize our body system so that we can function better.
Very good. Now, Dr. Wagner, for someone who likes the idea of doing something proactive about their health, particularly as all of us age, are there some basic tips you can suggest that would help someone on that path?
So I don't like basic tips. I'm not the kind of doctor that gives the same pill to everyone, thinking that there's that miracle pill that will save everyone. I really like looking at how everyone dysfunction and we all dysfunction properly, differently. So, for example, I had a patient this week, and she had ankle issues. And I was like, well, if you want to start being more proactive about aging, you can start working on your ankles so that you have more stability on your ankles so that you prevent falls in 10 or 15 years. And falling is a very big problem when you're aging. So if you prevent it 15 years earlier, you have less problem later on. So this is so I don't like giving typical tips, but definitely working on the brain. Brain health is super important when you're aging, and looking at what can you do to better your brain with exercise, with supplements, with nutrition is really important. We're going to look at the skin. The skin is very important when we're aging too, and I love light therapy to help the skin aging better. There's definitely the gut, and gut health is very important when you're aging because you're not digesting as easily as good. So smaller meal, maybe intermittent fasting. So, and again, this is depending on what everyone is different and adapting it to every different person.
Very good. Let's elaborate a little bit more on the brain health. You mentioned supplements. Are there some supplements that are beneficial for everyone's brain health, or it really is just a person-person thing?
Omegas are always good and beneficial for everyone. So omega-3s, we hear about fish oils. Those are really good for everyone. It's really good when we're learning new behaviors. So omegas are going to help the brain build itself. And so at any age, we can stimulate brain function and stimulate to learn new things. And the more we learn, the more the brain will develop and stay strong and healthy. So what we want to do is, yes, taking some of those omegas, but also doing sudokus or word games so that we stimulate brain function. I really like at a certain age starting to learn a different language, like Spanish or French. You know, it's just like the more you stimulate your brain, the more you're going to keep it going. And that's really the idea I like. It's keeping your brain going so that it doesn't start not functioning the way you want it to function.
Very good. You mentioned gut health, and for folks who might not have familiarity with what that is, could you explain that a little bit more? And then, is there anything that we can do to improve that?
So gut health is a big problem I find in the US. There's a lot of food that are inflammatory for our gut. And so it's important first to eat healthy. The only thing we have in control into our digestive system is what we're going to be able to put in our mouth. So we can control what we put in our mouth. We have access to a lot of food in the United States, and we have to be grateful for all the food we have access to. But some of those foods are not so healthy and can create inflammation in the body. When there's too much inflammation in the body, the brain can get inflamed too. And when there's too much inflammation on the gut or on the brain, it can create degeneration, dementia. Dementia is doubling every 20 years in the US. So that's a big problem as we age. So that inflammation, if we can start early on taking care of it by taking care of our gut health, we can start having our brain keep functioning better and not degenerating as fast.
Okay, so I just want to underscore this. So you're saying that the gut health, what we eat, is actually informs the health of our brains.
So the gut health is going to be when we digest, we're going to create the building blocks that are going to create the little cells that are going to regenerate ourselves. And so we have a new body every 3 to 7 years, depending on the studies we're looking at. Our body regenerate itself on a regular basis, depending on the building block we're going to put in our system to help it regenerate. And those building blocks are the protein, the glucides, and the fat. And so if we're putting good quality building blocks in our system, we're building better. If we're putting crappy building blocks into our system, we're not building so good. So when we're looking at aging and aging more successfully, it's important to put good quality ingredient into our system so that our building block are strong and solid and better for our health.
Very good. Now you mentioned exercise as well, and I know that for some people, exercise can be very vigorous, and they can be working at a gym and running and bicycling and swimming. But when you're referring to exercise and reference to optimal aging, what does that mean? How much activity would constitute enough exercise to just contribute to optimal aging?
Something that I find very interesting is that muscle knows no age, meaning that at 20, you can have the same muscles and the same quality of muscles at 80. So if you're working your muscles at any age, you can build those muscles and have strong muscles. After that, when you're looking at women around menopause, it's a little bit harder because the body doesn't like making as much muscles and prefer making fat. And so it's important to have a good muscle mass early on in time. So again, prevention and thinking about it and being intentional already when you're younger on how to build muscle and how to keep a stronger base than to start working out when you're 60, 70, or 80. But even people, we know when we see people that are 80, that are working out, that's most of the time I've been working out for a long time and are beautiful and have very strong muscle at 80 years old. So start with where you're at. And that's really important when you start a practice, an exercise practice, is really start where you are. Don't think because you were able to do so much when you were 20 and now you're 40 and you should be able to do as much. No, you can't do as much as when you were 20, but build yourself back slowly. And if you're intentional and if you're doing a little bit every day, you're going to build those muscles again. And slowly you're going to get stronger and stronger.
Thank you, Dr. Wagner. We're just about out of time here. I wonder if you could share a website that viewers could go to for more information, and if you have a summating message for the viewers.
So our website is St. Clemente Vitality Center.com, stclementivitality.com. And so my final message is be intentional. Aging or health in general is really about putting a little bit of effort every day. And so start eating healthy, start exercising a little bit every day. Make small changes And slowly you're going to see that you're getting better, stronger, and healthier. And that's my recommendation for you.
Well said. Thank you so much, Dr. Wagner. We're going to wrap up now. This is George Alger signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until we meet again.